Hello friends, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Elise, and this is my mystical bookshelf. And today I have for you A Winter in New York by Josie Silver. And this is another audiobook that I listened to in 2024. I listened to it I listened to it in December. So it was kind of like at the tail end of the year. It was, I was trying to go through all my Christmas books, and I was trying to compile a list of Christmassy books because that's really the only time I feel like listening to them is in December. So, but A Winter in New York is a little bit different because it doesn't all take place in Christmas time, but it does mainly take place in winter. So that's why I thought it was perfect to listen to for December, because it had all the vibes. It was definitely a winter wonderland in New York, and I could picture it perfectly in my head, and it made me feel cozy. But yeah, so this book is about Iris, and she decides to move to New York for a fresh start because she used to live in England, and she moved away because of her abusive relationship with her ex-boyfriend. And I don't even remember his name, but it doesn't matter because he's not important, because he is a POS, and I'm pretty sure most of you know what that means. But so she moves to New York, and she's this chef. She had like a chef job in England, I think, but she moves here and she tries to find a job as a chef. She loves to cook. She's a really great cook, and Iris is a really great female main character in my opinion. She's very sweet, and I loved reading about her and following her thoughts throughout this book. And so she decides to have this fresh start, and she moves in with her best friend, whose name is Bobby, and I think he's a little bit older than her. I don't know, he reminds me of like an uncle to Iris almost. And he has this restaurant, and I think she works for him for a little bit. But so he convinces her to go and put herself out there and whatnot, and to explore New York more. And so she ends up meeting someone when they go out that one night, and his name is Gio, and he is a fabulous male character, and their love story is very honest and is very sweet, and I loved reading about it. And it's kind of, I wasn't expecting this in the book, but it kind of goes back and forth between being the past with Iris's mom, because this book has an interesting like tie-in. So Iris's mom, she ended up in a romance with Gio's uncle when they were younger, and Gio, his family, owns this place, I think it's a gelateria, like they sell gelato, but they only sell one flavor, and it's vanilla, and it's apparently the best gelato that you can find in New York. So yeah, that was kind of interesting to read about too. And so Gio has this really big Italian family, and I love the family vibes in this book because it was very heartwarming to hear about Gio's family and how they're all very close-knit, and they all have this gelato shop together. But he ends up with this, his family recipe is missing, and that was the main catalyst of the story, is that Iris is trying to help Gio figure out the family recipe, and she ends up figuring out that her mom and Gio's uncle have this romance, and he gives her mom the recipe. And I think it's not really Gio's uncle, it's like his surrogate uncle, because Gio's biological family wasn't very welcoming. I think he ended up being on his own for a while, but his uncle ended up taking him in. And I think his dad is kind of a deadbeat. I think Gio's dad is a deadbeat. I think that's how it was explained. But so she figures out that her mom had this special family recipe that nobody else had except for them. And so like the chapters go back and forth between her mom being young and being with Gio's uncle, and then it goes to Iris and Gio figuring out their romance and figuring out this recipe. But Iris doesn't want to tell him that she has this recipe because it was supposed to never leave the family. So I think Iris feels a little awkward, thinking that it would be weird if she said that she ended up with this recipe somehow, because I don't think she wanted to throw her mom under the bus like that. And her mom had told her before she passed away that she didn't want anybody knowing that she has this recipe. And so, yeah, so she didn't end up telling Gio until the very end, I think. I think that was the main twist in the story, is that she does end up telling Gio that her mom had this recipe. But this book is it's very sweet. It's so cute. It's perfect for winter, and it's a perfect wintry romance, really, because it goes through Gio and Iris's relationship, and it's very organic. Like, they get to know each other, and it almost feels like a Hallmark movie, but it feels like a Hallmark movie and mystery type of vibe. Like, it's fluffy, but it's not fluffy at the same time. And it really enjoyed listening to it. It was one of my favorite books I read in December. It had the perfect vibes, and it made me crave gelato a lot. Like, I really wanted gelato when I was listening to this because it sounded amazing. And I really enjoyed Iris's character, and I enjoyed seeing her grow from her abusive relationship, because that's why she moved in the first place. Okay, I'm sorry about that. My phone camera died, so my video got cut off. But anyway, as I was saying, I don't remember exactly what I was talking about before it cut off, but Gio and Iris's romance in this book is definitely the focal point of this story, and I love it so much. It felt really raw and real, and it felt very organic, and I loved that the book kind of had this weird connection between them. It was very interesting that Gio's uncle and Iris's mom were together as young people, and now they're together as young people. I just thought it was a really interesting connection, and I really like Josie Silver's writing. This is my second book that I've read by her. The first book I read, it was a while ago. I think I was still in high school when I read it. It was called One Day in December, and it kind of had the same vibes. It was like these characters kept like meeting up and getting lost from each other, and then meeting up again, and then getting lost from each other. But so it was kind of the same motifs, I guess. But what I love the most about this book is the family connection between Gio and Iris, because as I was listening to the book, it was revealed that Gio and Iris had actually met unexpectedly as children. Like, I think Iris was like 2 and Gio was 5, and they had met by coincidence when Iris's mom was doing something. She was like strolling, walking with Iris in a stroller, and Gio was with his uncle and his wife, because Iris and Gio's uncle didn't end up getting married. They were kind of just like a summer romance, like a fling of sorts. Even though Iris's mom really seemed like she was in love with him, they just didn't end up together. So, but yeah, they met at like chance when they were really young, like really, really little, which I thought was really interesting. It was kind of cool to hear about. And that was like towards the end of the book, so I thought that was even more interesting, because it really put into perspective like how connected that Gio and Iris are. And I thought it was really interesting. It made me think of Invisible String by Taylor Swift, because in that song she's talking about how she felt connected to Joe and how everything in their life up until that point had brought them together. And that's kind of like how this book felt. Like if this book had like a song ongoing throughout the whole of it, it would totally be Invisible String, because Iris and Geo were definitely meant to be together. And that was definitely my favorite part of the book. My other favorite part of the book was the family dynamics. I loved everyone in Geo's family. I loved all of their dynamics together. I loved their personalities, and every character felt very nuanced and necessary in the story. And I think that's what Josie Silver does best. She really brings her characters to life, and she really makes it feel like you're invested in them and you want to know what happens next. And another cool thing that I thought was a good feature in this book is Iris ends up confronting her ex-boyfriend Adam in the very end, because he wants to find her, I guess. He's been stalking her throughout the whole book, which I thought was another interesting subplot. And it really shows Iris's strength as a character. And I thought it was very interesting how she really put him in his place in the very end. And I was very proud of her, and I was like, girl, it takes some strength to do that, because it seemed like Adam was, like I said, POS. And it was very powerful seeing her like stick it to him like that. That was one of my favorite parts of the book. And in the very, very end of the book, after Adam is kind of like told to go F himself, basically, and she ends up being honest with Geo about everything, and she ends up telling him about the connection with her mom and how Geo's uncle ended up giving her the secret recipe. And I was really appreciative that Josie Silver ended up making Iris and Geo's relationship more honest like that. Like, she ended up bringing together the family connections, and Geo wasn't really mad, and I don't even think he would have been mad to begin with. I think Iris could have told him sooner, and I don't think he would have been upset, because it was a long time ago, and Geo's uncle was obviously really in love with Iris's mom too, even though it was like a summer fling. Like, I think they had wanted to be together, they just weren't able to, and so Geo's uncle moved on. But I don't think he even thought, like, anything of it. And Iris' mom, I think it was revealed that she tried to give the recipe back. And I think that's why Iris and Geo met in the first place when they were little kids, because Iris' mom had written the recipe down on this napkin, and she was, like, asking Geo's uncle if he trusted her, and he trusted her enough to give her the secret recipe to the gelato. And Iris's mom was true to her word and was gonna give it back, but then she saw Geo's uncle with his new family and the fact that he had moved on and stuff, so she never ended up giving it to him or giving it back to him. She just kind of kept it. And I think that was the whole point of the story, was that Iris and Geo were meant to be together and meant to meet each other so that this family recipe could stay within the family, and Iris ends up being a part of the family as a result. And so it ends up, I don't know if they get married in the end or not, I don't remember if they do, but I think in the epilogue, I feel like in the epilogue they kind of allude to the fact that they got engaged, and I think they are going to get married, but I don't remember exactly how it happened. But I think the big themes for this book are family and, like, invisible strings, and how everything that happens for a reason is for a reason. And I think that's the biggest theme in this book, is that things are meant to happen the way that they're supposed to happen. And it's really about fate, and this book is definitely that overarching theme of fate and how things tie everyone together, and how sometimes you don't even realize that everything is tied together until the very end. So I just thought it was really interesting. I gave it a 5 stars. I really liked this book, and I think that if you enjoy themes of fate, and like people meant to be together and people finding each other in weird, strange ways. I think you'd really enjoy this, and it was definitely one of my better reads for December, and it was perfect for winter time. It's perfect for this time of year especially. I think it's perfect for January, definitely, because it has those wintry vibes and it feels cozy. It feels like a cozy Christmas adjacent story, but not like a full Christmas story, which I thought was interesting. And that was another thing that really drew me to it, because I wanted to listen to Christmas books, but I didn't want to just like pigeonhole myself into that specific theme. So this book was pretty perfect for that. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on that book, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you read it, please let me know what you think. And if you've read Josie Silver before, please let me know in the comments what you thought about her. And I appreciate all of my subscribers. I appreciate all my new subscribers, because I noticed I have 21 subscribers now, which I thought was pretty cool. So thank you for your support. And please let me know in the comments if what you would like me to read next, or what you would like me to talk about, because I'm always open to ideas. And so thank you for that. And I just appreciate all the support. And I hope you enjoyed watching this. I enjoyed making it, and I will see you in the next video. So goodbye for now.